I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge Al-Akyam, who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, in Shalom, to the elect of the nation of Israel. And this is Shabai from GMS Denver. And I'm going to go ahead and go in on Isaiah 47 through the Spirit. And in the blue letter, because I have the blue letter open here, the title of this chapter that they give it is Lament for Babylon. All right? So without further ado, let's see if I can turn this brightness up. Oh, it's already up. Without further ado, we'll start at the top. It says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate." Right? Because America, one of the monikers for this place is America the Beautiful. America is the female version of the name Amerigo, which this country was named after, the Italian explorer or the Italian conquistador, Amerigo Vespucci, right? So, it's just like Israel is likened as a woman to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. The Zion. Let's get that real quick. The same thing with America. It's likened unto a woman. That's why it's called the whore in Revelation. For Jeremiah 6:2, it says, "I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman." And that's how the Most High looks at Israel. Zion is another word for Israel. He looks at us as a comely and delicate, like a beautiful woman, a delicate woman, which is the opposite of these women here in Babylon, America right now. These women are not delicate, right? They cuss like sailors. They drink like a fish, So these women are not delicate, trying to usurp authority over a man all the time. This is the product of Babylon. It causes confusion. It causes everything to be in disorder, okay? That's why you have all these crazy bitches running around with no sense and no reverence for the Most High. See? So let's read 2. It says, "Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover the locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers." Okay, so that's what we're doing as the Lord's servants, the prophets. We're exposing Babylon. We're telling you this is Babylon, which America is Babylon. We're telling you this is the land of the Chaldeans, the land of the sorcerers, the land of witchcraft, the land of abominations, right? Through the Holy Spirit, we're able to discern and tell you who Babylon is in the Bible. And it says the daughter of Babylon, right, in verse 1, because it's not talking about ancient Babylon. All right, and that word Babylon, it means confusion, okay? So in ancient Babylon, there was confusion, and in the daughter of Babylon, there's confusion, okay? So let's read verse 3. "Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yeah, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man." Okay? Talking about Yahweh Shai, right? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai are going to take vengeance on this place. And it says, "I will not meet thee as a man," because the Most High already sent his son Yahweh Shai on the planet Earth during the time of the Romans as a man. But this time, he came as a sheep, right? A sacrificial lamb, right? But he's coming back with fierceness. He's coming back as the Lion of Judah, right? He's coming back as in that heavenly celestial body, that perfect body, right? So, he's a spirit. And that's the thing about the new bodies in the kingdom, which are only going to be for the Israelites, but we're going to have the ability to change from in the flesh, because heaven's going to be on the earth, and also going into a spiritual form, right? So where that spiritual form, when you come, and I've said it before, when Yahweh Shai and the angels are having a war, with Esau and the heathen, the Edomites and the rest of the heathen, you can't kill a spirit, right? You shoot a bullet at a spirit, and what's the bullet going to do? It's going right through the spirit. It's not going to do nothing to the spirit or the soul. So we're going to have those abilities just like Yahweh Shai. Okay? And we know that the angels, they're spirits, right? The scriptures tell us that they're ministers and spirits of flaming fire. Well, we know angels can do that, right? They can come down on the earth and appear as a human being, right? That's why it says in the scriptures, many have entertained angels unawares, right? Let's grab that real quick, because there's angels, Yahweh Bashemishai can send an angel right in your presence, and you don't even realize it's an angel. Hebrews. We've had angels visit the camp. It says, Hebrews 13:2, be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Right? And, you have to remind yourself about the angel that showed up at the I think it was LA Victorville camp. They had an austere, serious, scary-looking angel show up to their camp, just standing there, listening. And he was behind them, right? Brothers who know about that video, you know what I'm talking about. But listen, angels can become men walking on the earth, all right? Think about Sodom and Gomorrah, when the angels were visiting Lot and protected him. Let's see, Isaiah 47 and 4, it says, as for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, Yahweh of hosts, the Holy One of Israel. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt not no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms, right? Like the America the Beautiful. Sit silent, meaning, hey, America don't have no say in the matter. The military doesn't have no say in the matter. Like I said, how are you going to beat an army of angels, an army of spirits, of ministers of a flaming fire that can shapeshift, that can change into different things, that can, jump in their chariot and blast concentrated fire at your tanks and and maneuver around your stealth, your stealth bombers and your what's the new one? They name it after Nero 47. Let me see. Let me look it up real quick. America's new fighter jet, named after Trump. The Boeing F-47.
There is no new U.S. fighter jet named after Trump.
Oh, see, so they say it's not named after Trump, but if you know, you know. That's why it's called the F-47, because he's the 47th president. And Trump has came out, you know, and talked about that, spoke on that, all in his pride, you know, speaking about the F-47 and how it has capabilities that no other jets have had, no other countries have, you know what I'm saying, have achieved that type of fighter jet. But he's not considering the angels. The angels can, I mean, like I said, they can shapeshift, they can zip, they move like lightning, right? None of Esau's jets can move like lightning. I mean, they're fast, but think about lightning. It'll start from the south and go all the way to the north in a second. Esau can't mess with that type of speed. And it tells you that in Nahum that they shall move like lightning. It says, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. Right. Upon the ancient, who are the ancient people? Who are the ancient spirits? The first spirits created the first spirit was created was Yahweh Shai. And then after that, who was it? It was the Elohim. It was the 144,000. So that's why sometimes it calls us the ancient men, calls us the ancient, right? It says, I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand, and thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And look at the Lord's servants and prophets now. We have a heavy yoke on us right now. Part of it is being in this flesh. Another part of it is being underneath our enemies. You know? And they don't let up on us. They don't say, oh, you know what? We're going to give y'all a break. Esau doesn't do that. That's why you got to go work every day. You know, if you're fortunate enough, if you're financially free, you still got things to tend to, bills to pay, subject to payments, right? Tells you in, let me see, Haggai, that we have a bag, our money's like bags with holes in it, right? Haggai, let me see. Let's see. Is it Haggai? Maybe it's chapter 2. Let me see. Bags with holes, KJV. Yeah, Haggai 1. I was right. Haggai 1:6 says, Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. But ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. See, so this is prophecy that we're subject to payments. It's a prophecy because as soon as, you know, the average person in Babylon, you know, as soon as they get paid, the majority of their money that they earn, their wages, what does it do? It goes back to the system, you know? And all the money, really, except for the money that if you're able to save, you know, if you're fortunate to put some money aside and actually save, you know, that's, you know, some people can do that, you know, but the overall, these people are living paycheck to paycheck, you know, You have people all over the social media freaking out. Even, women, Edomite women that are making 6 figures and they're still broke. You see? And this is what this prophecy is. This is going into our curses. But guess what? Deuteronomy 30:7, we're seeing the curses fall on our people. On our enemies, right? Deuteronomy 30:7, it says, "And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee." You see? So Yahweh's putting the curses on the enemies. That's why you see the Edomites are being affected by the curses now. Okay? Isaiah, and a lot of it is because, like I said, the women are out of order, the men are out of order. Remember, you have in this country women who can just leave their husbands. They leave their families, and there's no punishment for that. Even that's prophecy. All right, let's grab that real quick, because a woman gets paid in this country to leave her husband and leave her family, right? Hosea 4:14, it says, "I will not punish your daughters when they commit whoredom, nor your spouses when they commit adultery. For themselves are separated with whores, and they sacrifice with harlots. Therefore the people doth not understand shall fall." Okay? And again, this is going into the Israelites, right? The curses of the Israelites. But again, the curses are falling on our enemies right now, because we're in a transitional period, right? We're about to enter into the kingdom. This world we're in the last days. The signs are all here. The prophets, we've already measured the time diligently, and we know what time in history, according to Bible prophecy, we know where we're at. See? Let's go back to Isaiah 47. Now sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was wroth with my people, I have polluted mine inheritance, wroth with the Israelites, and given them into thine hand. Right? The Bible tells you that the heathen devour us. How do they devour us? With oppression, with philosophies, with the sword. There's all kind of ways that these Edomites right now is the current, this is where we're in captivity under the Edomite, under the so-called white man. Another way he devours us is obviously with his sword. He's still killing our people in the streets. You watch videos of so-called black man, and dealing with the Roman soldiers, right? The modern Roman soldiers, which are these policemen and shit. Listen, they're attacking the so-called blacks and Hispanics on the streets, using excessive force in most videos you see. But if it's a so-called white man, you'll see the white man cussing out the police, threatening them, talking shit, and they won't do anything. They'll sit there and they don't, attack them like they do the Israelites. They don't. I've seen plenty of videos where you just see a white man just talking his shit, and they don't do nothing to him. They'll reprimand him, but they're not going to beat his ass or kill him or shoot him, right? And why is that? It's because we're in the Esau's world right now. This is Esau's kingdom. It's not your kingdom if you're a so-called black or Latino. This is not your kingdom. This is not your rest, And when prophets who know this, we look at you 2/3. You over here trying to hang on to the American dream, right? You're trying to establish an empire in Esau Edom's kingdom. We looking at you like, oh shit, this motherfucker don't know nothing. Isaiah 47:6, or let me see, I'm at 7. And thou saidst, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart. neither didst thou remember the latter end of it. All right? Yeah, you don't consider the Bible, you Americans. Of Babylon, America, the lady. Right? Thou shalt not sit no more. Thou shalt not be the lady of kingdoms. They're not going to call you that anymore. You know, this is Yahweh. He's telling you. You think you're the America, the beautiful, the lady of kingdoms. You know, the untouchable nation, right? That's what these people in America, they actually believe nobody can take on America, right? It talks about that in the Bible. Who shall make, let's grab that real quick in Revelation. Who shall make war with the beast, right? Revelation 13 and 4. This goes into the pride of the Edomites. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power to the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? And who is able to make war with him? Right? That's how the people look at America. Who can go to World War III with America? America is like, they got the fighter jets. They got all kinds of Boeing F-47s, stealth bombers, nuclear missiles, this, that, and the other, right? But the other countries, have leveled the playing field because the other countries, a lot of countries on the planet Earth have nuclear technology. And the prophecy is for them to use that nuclear technology against Babylon, America. It says in the Revelation, they shall burn her with fire. They shall burn who? The whore of Babylon the Great. Mystery Babylon. See? And it's called Mystery Babylon. Another word for mystery is secret, right? So it's a mystery. Babylon's a mystery to only the 2/3 of the heathen. And even some of them know that this is Babylon. But through the Lord's servants, the prophets, we know the mysteries and the secrets. Surely, Amos 3 and 7, surely Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, the Most High, will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. So he reveals his secrets to his prophets, his servants. We understand the mysteries and the secrets of the Bible, the things that you people don't understand. You take the average Joe out here in Babylon, America, and have them do a biblical lesson like I'm doing right now. And the average Joe, they don't know what to do. They're a fish out of water when they're holding this book, when they're reading this book. This is our book. This is the book of the prophets. It's always been the book of the prophets of Israel, the Israelites. Most High has given us the Spirit. He's given us His Spirit, I should say. We have the Spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right? So let's go back to Isaiah 47. And 8. Verse 8. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. And that's how these people think. They think that they think America is going to continue forever. Not considering that every empire has an expiration date. Every empire in the history of mankind has had an expiration date. All right? And America is no different. And our elders have already done they don't have the Spirit on them to look into how long does an empire last. And the average empire lasts, if you Google it, it's going to tell you like 250, 270 years, 300 maybe if it's lucky, right? And America is, they started this place in 1776, right? So you had 1876, that was 100 years. 1976, that was 200 years. Now we're in 2025, So what is that? 250 years. We're right at the, you know what I'm saying? We're right at the doorstep of the end of this place. It says, okay, but it's these people, they don't think they're going to sit as a widow. They don't think they're going to have lots of children. Right? But what does the 9 say? But these two things, meaning loss of children and becoming a widow, because your men are going to die in the war, your sons are going to die in the war, your daughters are going to die in the war, you know, die by the sword. Verse 9, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. So all this wicked witchcraft and sorceries that America allows to happen, to continue, you know, this is why you're going to see all that loss of children and become widows, you know. And it's collectively as a nation this is going to happen in a moment, right? For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Yeah, that's how America's attitude is. Nobody's like America. This is the greatest country in the planet Earth. Nobody can touch this military, you know. That's their attitude. So they're in that Psalm 49:11 spirit, where they feel like their houses will dwell forever, right? Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Right, all this stuff is going to come on to Babylon, America, unexpectedly, in a moment. Right, you're not going to, like, when Russia, when Yahweh puts the spirit on Russia to send missiles to Babylon, America, what are you going to have, 15 minutes? You know, that's how long it takes for a missile to leave Russia and hit America, you know. 15 or 20 minutes. You're going to be calling all your loved ones, telling them goodbye and shit. But the elect, hey, we're going to be scared in that moment, right? We're going to be scared, but we also know the prophecy. We know that some are going to go up in those chariots during the time of nuclear fire. So we are going to be just praying and hoping that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, that we did enough. We did the work. Yeah, right? We worked out our salvation, right? Therefore shall evil come upon thee, the bad times. Thou shalt not know whence it rises. Oh, I just read that. But you see this place is going down, according to Isaiah 47. And Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be shalt thou be able to profit. If so be thou mayest prevail. Right. Now he's mocking you. He's saying, all right, now stand with your enchantments and your sorceries. All the wicked shit you did, all the left-hand rituals, all the false gods, you know, all the enchantments, the sorceries. Put your trust in that. Now, while you're about to, Yahweh's like, while I'm ready to destroy you. Okay, the Lord of hosts is one of his titles, which means the Lord of armies. If he's the Lord of army, guess what? Your army don't stand a chance. See? He's like, all right, now put your trust in your enchantments. Put your trust in your sorcery. Let's see what you got, Esau. Let's see what you got, heathen nations, you know? This is a challenge, you know? Yahweh's challenge you in the scripture. Verse 13, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Now let the astrologers, the stargazers, and the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Yeah, he's saying, all right, go look at your astrologers. Go look at your warlocks, your witches, go see what they got to do and say about it, this situation. right? Because I told you yesterday in my lesson, you have witchcraft, you have warlocks. A warlock is a male witch. You have these ritualistic forces, right? These witches, warlocks, wizards, sorcerers, enchanters, necromancers. You know, all these different titles that the left hand has, you know, dealing with their sorcery and their witchcraft, which that stuff is real. Okay? So Yahweh's saying, all right, put your trust in those motherfuckers. You know, let's go inquire or see what the witch has to say about the situation. You know, and I just read a story yesterday with Samuel and Saul and the witch of Endor, right? Where she summoned the spirit of Samuel, and he told Saul, hey, you're going to be with me tomorrow in the spirit world, dead. See? It says, verse 14, behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them, they shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor a fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander everyone to his quarter, none shall save thee. All right, so Babylon has no hope. All right, prophecy is getting ready to be fulfilled. The prophecies are jumping off the pages of the book. All these things can come to pass. All right. And that's why we're always telling you Israelites, you know, this is the time you need to repent. You need to get right, because there's going to be a destruction that nobody's going to be able to save you from. But if you have that hedge, you have the protection, that you have the hands of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai ready to cover thee, ready to cover you, right? Then, hey, you have that hope. That's what the hope, that's why we call ourselves the hopeful elect. Because we hope we're the elect. We hope we're those men and some women. Remember, there are going to be women going up too in salvation. There's going to be women who have salvation. We get on the women, we rebuke the women, but at the end of the day, we know and understand that, hey, there's going to be women that are going up in the chariots. This is not a total. It is a masculine thing we do, but it's not it's not a shutout. There's going to be women that go up in the chariots too, you know. So I hope the lesson was edifying. I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Qudash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge Al-Akyam, who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.